So where did you find this violin?
My music instructor had gotten multiple violins on consignment from a violin house in Chicago. We played them and we made a decision on which violin to keep, and this is the one we settled on. We got it in 1962 and it cost about $1,200, a lot of money, especially for somebody like myself.
This is a Dutch violin from the Kuipers School, a fine, classy instrument made around the 1820s in the Netherlands. The violin has a beautiful flamed maple back. You can see the flame pattern running across the wood, catching the light. The belly of the violin is made of spruce, a wood chosen for its sound quality. The varnish has a dry, scaly look on the surface, which is a signature of Dutch violins from this period. These materials together give the violin both strength and a rich tone. The Kuipers family were master violin makers in the Netherlands, working across 3 generations. They were known for creating high-quality, serious instruments. One sign of their work is the purfling, the thin decorative line around the edges. Inside the violin is a label that says Heinrich Valens Ghent, 1728. But this is a false label, added later by someone who recognized it was a Dutch violin. The real age is around the 1820s, not 1728. Fake labels were common in old instruments, but the quality of the wood and craftsmanship tells the true story. The owner was once told it was a late 19th century reproduction of an 18th century violin, worth only about $2,000. But a closer look revealed the truth. This is not a reproduction at all.
And the value today, a conservative value in the retail market, would be $25,000.
Oh, great. That's a lot more than I thought it was.
I went to college in 1968, and my instructor told me that I needed a better violin than the one I had, and we paid $600 for it, which was a lot of money back then.
In 1968, you're right, $600 was a lot of money.
Yeah.
What did you understand the violin to be when you bought it?
Well, we were told it was an original instrument.
Okay.
The label inside, of course, didn't mean a lot to me.
This is a French violin made around 1880. The violin shows beautiful craftsmanship throughout. The purfling, the decorative line around the edges, flows perfectly into the corners. Every detail shows the work of someone who truly knew what they were doing. Jean-Baptiste Vuillaume was one of the greatest French violin makers. He started working in Paris around 1820 and died in 1875. He was very prolific and created many instruments during his lifetime. His workshop trained skilled craftsmen who continued making violins after his death. Inside the violin is a label that says J.B. Vuillaume, Paris, 1861, with a signature. But something doesn't match. Vuillaume didn't put dates on his labels in 1861, he only numbered them, and he usually signed the inside of the instrument, not just the label. These details raised questions about the label's authenticity. After careful study, experts believe this violin was made around 1880, after Vuillaume's death, and by one of his co-workers who continued the craft.
And I would value this violin in the retail market today at $25,000.
Oh, wow. That's great. That is great.
My grandfather's second wife was coming from East Germany to West Germany, and she brought a lot of possessions, including this violin. He was actually, I guess, he was in the Army. I've shown it to a few people in Santa Fe, and they've said it's a nice violin. Nobody said it's awesome or a Stradivarius. And they gave me a couple of numbers.
What were those numbers?
Somebody said 5 to 7.
This is an Italian violin made by Claudio Gambini of Bologna, a skilled maker from the early 20th century. The violin has several unique features. The edge is raised and rounded, what experts call a beaded edge. It's thicker than the rest of the plate. The scroll has a very elongated peg box, and the eye of the scroll is unusually large. The back is made of a special wood called Oppio, native to northern Italy. Oppio has an extremely fine figure with tight curls in the maple. This type of wood is not just beautiful, it's also excellent for sound quality. Inside the violin is a label that says Romeo Antoniazzi, a famous violin shop in Italy around 1900. But the violin was not made by Antoniazzi. It was made by Gambini and sold through the Antoniazzi shop. This was common in Italy. Shops would put their own label on instruments made by other makers to increase the value. Even with a different label inside, experts can identify the true maker by studying the design. The style does not match Antoniazzi's work. but it matches exactly how Claudio Gambini built his violins. The wood, the edges, the scroll, the varnish, all point to Gambini.
Well, the price of a Gambini violin at auction in 2005 was $21,000.
Wow.
That was almost 10 years ago. Nowadays, I'd place it in the auction category at about $28,000 to $35,000.
That's really interesting.
My parents talked to my music teacher who had been in Italy, and he mentioned a place in Bologna. And fortunately, my grandfather was on a trip to Italy and took a detour to Bologna to meet up with the maker.
What did he pay for it?
The number that comes to mind as a kid was $600.
Yeah.
This is an Italian viola made by Ansaldo Poggi in Bologna, 1967. One of only 41 violas ever made by this master craftsman. The viola has a spruce top with very straight, regular grain. The back is beautiful flamed maple. The flames run all the way to the edge. The same stunning wood is used in the peg box and scroll, giving the instrument a unified, handsome look. The wear on the surface shows it has been played and loved for decades. Ansaldo Poggi was born in 1893 and lived until 1984. He is one of the most important Italian violin makers of the 20th century. In the 1920s, he studied with Giuseppe Fiorini, the man who brought all the tools from Stradivari's workshop and donated them to Cremona, Italy. Through Fiorini, Poggi became a devoted Stradivari enthusiast, and that influence shows in his entire career. Poggi was fanatic about precision and beautiful wood. He only chose the finest materials for his instruments. In the 1950s, when his work became popular, he started buying back his earlier instruments, rebuilding them with better techniques he had learned. The label inside says, Ansaldo Poggi, Bologna, 1967. On the inside of the viola, his handwriting says, Ansaldo Poggi, Ficit in Bologna, Anno 1967. He also branded the instrument A. Poggi, a practice he started in the 1920s. All these details confirm it is genuine. Over a 60-year career, Poggi made about 388 instruments, but only 41 were violas. This makes each Poggi viola extremely rare and valuable.
Really?
I talked to some of my colleagues about the marketplace.
Yes.
And they said, you know what, in the United States, it's a little uncertain as to what the marketplace would be, but probably somewhere around $200,000 retail price.
I was thinking, several tens of thousands maybe.
It was purchased by my great-grandfather during the Depression. He purchased it from, I believe, a neighbor who at the time needed some extra money, and he wanted his son, my grandfather, to learn how to play a musical instrument.
When did he buy it again?
During the Great Depression. From what I understand, he paid $20 for it.
This is a Gibson F5 mandolin, designed by Lloyd Loar, the father of the modern mandolin. The mandolin has a beautiful fern inlay on the peghead, a signature of Lloyd Loar instruments. The finish is called Cremona Brown Sunburst, a warm, rich color. It has 2 F-holes like a violin and an arched body. The craftsmanship is exceptional. Lloyd Loar was an acoustic engineer and a great mandolin player. He worked at the Gibson Company in the 1910s and 1920s. He is known as the father of the modern mandolin. His designs changed everything about how mandolins are made and how they sound. Loar brought violin-making techniques to the mandolin. Inside, it has parallel tone bars. The fingerboard is elevated over the body. The bridge sits at the center of the arch, just like a violin. The plates inside are tap-tuned, meaning their thickness was adjusted by hand for the best sound. The neck is longer, with 15 frets to the body. Earlier mandolins had shorter necks. This mandolin was made between late 1922 and 1924. While Lloyd Loar was still working at the Gibson factory. These are called Lloyd Loar Model 5s and became the prototype for all mandolins that followed. Inside, it has a Gibson label with a serial number and a master model label, Gibson's professional top-grade instrument.
I would say these days, a correct asking price through a dealer in a shop would be about $175,000.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. It's been in a closet in a farmhouse for many, many years.
I think about 1965, my family moved from Colorado to Washington, D.C. My mom wanted to start me on an instrument, a string instrument, and we chose a violin.
Did you buy it at a violin shop from a violin dealer?
Yes, but I just remember walking into this room and I saw this violin in the back of it. When my dad saw the cost...
And how much was that?
It was $600 in 1965. It was a big chunk of money at that time, and my dad went ahead and bought it for me, the one I wanted. So
This is a German violin from around 1740 to 1750, nearly 300 years old. The back of the violin has a beautiful color, white in the center that fades to brown at the edges. A wax seal with the letters MD marks a previous owner. The head is carved with great detail and clean work. The dark brown finish is original, though worn down over the years. This violin was handmade by a skilled workshop in Germany, possibly the Hornsteiner family in Nuremberg. The Hornsteiners were one of the better families of violin makers during this period, known for their detailed work and quality instruments. The style follows the Steiner model, which was very popular in the 1700s. The work is high quality, small edges, neat corners, and a beautifully carved head. Most old violins had their necks replaced in the 1800s to make them longer for modern playing. But this violin still has its original neck, very rare to find. Instead of replacing it, someone simply re-angled it by adding wood at the heel. Inside the violin is a label with a 1760s date, but experts believe it's a fake label added later. The actual violin is older, made around 1740 to 1750. The violin is in great shape. There are some old cracks in the head, but nothing serious. With a little cleaning, it could sing beautifully again.
In a retail shop environment, it should be worth at least $10,000, and I'm thinking somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000.
oh my goodness, that's incredible. It makes me miss my dad even more. He's gone.
It belonged to my grandmother, my father's mother, and she was a violin teacher in the Chicago area for many years. I think that my grandmother got it from her first husband, who immigrated from Czechoslovakia in the 30s. But other than that, I have no idea.
And have you played it?
Yes, I am a violinist as well.
This is a Czech violin made by František Hřlich in 1925. A rare copy of a David Tekler violin from Rome, 1690. The violin has a beautiful maple back with a striking figure, almost like bird's eye maple. The same maple appears on the ribs. The belly is made of spruce with very straight grain, exactly what violin makers look for. The condition is excellent with no visible cracks. The string height is correct. Everything about this violin shows a maker who knew his materials well. František Hřlich was born in 1866 and died in 1948. Tekler was a German maker who moved to Rome in the late 1600s and became one of the best violin makers of his time. Inside the violin is a label that says František Hřlich, violin maker, in Czech, along with the city where he worked in the year 1925. It also says, copy of a David Tekler, Rome, 1690.
So your violin is not of that category, even though it was copied after that work.
Sure.
In today's marketplace, in a retail setting, your violin would be in the $10,000 to $12,000 price range.